If you like dice, not just for rolling, for manipulation and moving, Baron Fudu coming up.
Hi, it's Tarrant.
And Stella from Meeple University. Today we are going to talk about Baron Fudu. The game's out a couple of years ago, and this version has been brought out by Lucky Duck Games, who's been doing more of those recently. And we will talk about the overview first before I was going to jump into what I think of it. But we're going to talk about the overview first before jumping into what we think of it.
Yes. So the Baron Voodoo game, each player has one of these characters and each character has a colour. So there are 4 colours of dice on the board plus a wild white colour. And at the start of the game, they're all randomly rolled and set up on this grid. And the basic part of the game is that you, with your colour, you can, on your turn, take any one of your coloured dice, jump 1 space over at least one other die and take that die. You can build up a stack of up to 3 dice in a column. So purple, if going next, could do that. But then this one would be full. And then the fundamental thing you're trying to do is create sets. When you've got a set, you move it from the top half of your board to the bottom and score points. And the sets can be same color with a different icon or same icon with different colors.
Yes, the more is the higher point.
Yes, 2 is worth 1, 3 is worth 3, and 4 is worth 5.
Yep.
And that's really the basics of the game. But then on top of that, every time you capture a die, every time you capture a die, you get to resolve the effect on that die. And so here, for example, you would get to swap dice from your top half with an adjacent player. There's one here.
Or with other players.
With another player, yep. There's one that lets you swap dice or take a die from the bottom that someone's already scored, because there's also a majority scoring at the end of the game if you've taken the most dice of a certain colour. So that can let you influence that.
There's also
these masks, or these, I think they're masks or skulls, which you can spend on the special player powers. You can get...
It's free for yourself though.
Yep. You can get temporary protection from other people taking your dice off the board.
Because that's one of the strategies, I guess, because you want to jump other people's dice and then they grab your dice, especially in a 2-player game. Doesn't mean that you'll win, as we've proven.
Yep, there's just straight points. I think I mentioned that. There's you can rotate a die to whatever face you want to make it easier to make your sets, and so on.
There's a lot of depth in this game, way more than I thought at first. Because, you know, which die you move, which die you capture, which die you set up for the next turn, which special power you're going to use, or you're going to spend 2. You can also spend 2 to do another turn, and when you time it right. And if you have most die in the underworld, you can also get this one, which is a special power, which lets you use other people's power for free.
Yeah, if you take the most white dice. And those don't count to the end game majorities, but they do give you a lot of flexibility to move your dice around the board.
What do you think, Tarrant?
I think there's a lot going on. It's definitely deceptive in terms of the number of, you've got 6 different effects and then you've got 4 different bonus effects. The basic element of the game of jumping over a die and creating sets is very straightforward. It's probably something we've seen before as well. But it works quite neatly, and then you add all these extra effects in. Personal view is I think there's a few too many effects. I found, particularly when I had this guy, that I kind of didn't have a lot of restriction to what I was able to do. I was always able to use one of these abilities to just put my die wherever I wanted and take the cube I wanted.
Right, so you think it's probably good to have more restriction without that special power, perhaps?
Yeah, I felt I could do with a little bit more restriction.
I should have challenged you, but I was like trying to gather your color dice.
But I definitely did enjoy, trying to make the sets and trying to get the majorities on certain colors, because the game is also triggered by when someone hits a certain score. And it'll trigger pretty quickly in a 4-player game. You only need 3 sets to trigger it. So
It's harder as well to kind of like capture certain dice. It's moving around quicker.
yeah. So yeah, I think that's sort of where I fall on it. It's a neat little game. A few too many
Options.
options for, I think, what the level of the game ought to be, but it was still fun.
That's fair. I do like the dice though. I mean, whoa, like these are wooden dice cubes.
They're kind of more, they're more cute. I think of them as cubes more than dice because they're not rounded. But
That's
that's
actually
just
true. Is it? Is it how it is? Like cubes?
It's not that at all, but it's just most dice are rounded.
Right, and it's not really rolling it. Yes, you roll at the start of the game, but then again, that's fixed.
Yes.
You don't roll anything afterwards, so you know, it's not really kind of like luck based or anything like that. Like, well, you know, every game is always sort of like luck based, but it's not that high as if you have to roll the dice. Yeah, I really enjoy the challenge that it brings, because you know, it's not just moving, it's kind of like capturing the right dice, I say earlier, the right time, the right type of dice. So essentially it is what it is actually just set collections that make it, you know, more variations to it. I did not make use a lot of other people's powers though. Maybe I should, but then as you say, it's opened up with you know, a lot of options to move the dice around.
Yeah.
So that's it. If you have played it, maybe let us know what you think of it as well in the comment sections below. If you find this video useful, if you could please hit that like button, that'll help us. And subscribe to us if you haven't already done so. You can also hit the nipple in the corner there and hit the bell so you can get notification when we have new videos. We do reviews like this one, how to play, my short and sweet, Stella's short and sweet, and live playthrough on the weekends and so on. And you can also follow me on Instagram for my board games journey, and hopefully we'll see you in our next video. Bye!